My life has felt like it's been falling apart for a while now. I lost my son a year ago, and I had already lost my wife. Only 5 months ago, I started leaving the house again, engaging with family and going to therapy. I also recently joined a support group. My mental health is far from perfect, but it's improving little by little. I could talk about my son without falling apart, but a week ago, I knew his birthday was coming up, the first one since I lost my boy. My sister called me and said it would be nice if we did something special to honor his memory. I said that she was free to do something if she'd like, but I don't have the heart in me to celebrate that day. It was just going to be too much, and I decided I'd instead not do anything. I preferred not to see anyone and be at home where I could be in private. My sister went ahead and organized something because I received a call from my mom asking to come help move some boxes. She and my dad are cleaning out their attic. So I thought maybe she wanted to distract me that day by having me do some physical work. Instead, I found my sister with her family, my parents, 5 other aunts and uncles, and several cousins all there. Photos of my son around the living room with candles and his favorite dishes prepared. Just the smell of his favorite foods was too overwhelming for me, and all I remember was walking right out with my mom and sister calling after me. They stopped me at my car. My sister kept urging me to go inside and be with everyone because we were all grieving. I know I shouldn't have, but I snapped at both of them for setting me up for something I said no to already. My sister had hoped I'd change my mind when I got there and saw the whole family. Both tried to get me to go back into the house, but I drove off. When I got home, I had several missed calls from my family. They were all upset I didn't stick around, especially my sister, who wanted this to be something special to honor my son's memory. My mom said she understood I'm still grieving, but that does not excuse me from walking off the way I did and snapping at my sister. The way I reacted made the whole thing uncomfortable, and the energy wasn't good after that. So my sister is unhappy the birthday get-together for my son didn't go as planned, and my mom thinks I should have handled it better. So yes, at the moment I am having a hard time seeing if what I did was truly wrong. I know my family loves me, and sometimes they want to help, but I have made it clear already I wanted no involvement. My emotions get the best of me sometimes, so I'd like to know if in this case I was an idiot for my reaction. You're not the idiot, but I think your sister is. She made the day about what she wanted and wanted you to grieve the way she wanted. She made the day all about her. The only person whose opinion matters is you. No one else gets a vote on how you grieve. No one gets to ambush a grieving parent like this. I am beyond furious at your sister and mother, OP. You are the idiot, not in a super bad way, but you shouldn't have snapped at your family for trying to help you. In this story, everybody is sad. You mentioned that you didn't leave your house for 6 months. This is also probably why they lured you into this. They don't want you to live this alone and they want to support you. You cannot be mad at them for that, even if you'd rather be alone. Creating a ritual such as a birthday celebration is not an unhealthy way of confronting or dealing with grief. It may work well for them. Trying to trick someone into participating in a sad ritual, especially when they said no to it, is a huge idiot move and completely disrespectful. Not the idiot. You made it clear that you had no interest in getting involved in this, and what your sister did, while well-intended, was wrong. Both she and your mother should have accepted your decision and respected your boundaries. What she did amounts to emotional blackmail. You made it clear that you wanted no part of this tribute. Your sister decided that you should, regardless of your decision, and she gathered the whole family together, making it difficult for you to bow out without looking like an idiot. She and your mother owe you an apology for not respecting your wishes. In August, my husband and I hired a nanny to take care of our kids while we were working. The kids are on a weird schedule at school where they don't attend every day or all day, so we hired a full-time nanny, Marie. We liked Marie, despite some issues with her following guidelines we discussed when we hired her. She let the kids have way too much screen time. She spent more time on her phone than with the kids. She would make messes and let the kids make messes, and she wouldn't clean up after them. She had friends over without letting us know, and she let the kids pig out on junk food instead of feeding them real food. All of this had been discussed when we hired her, And we saw it all when we reviewed our security cam footage. So we sat her down about 3 times and gave her official warnings each time. She'd improve for a while each time, but go back to the way she'd been before. 3 days Marie called out, said she was sick, so I told her to get better, and I call out from work to be with the kids. I'm in the middle of a big project at work, and people not coming hurt everyone. But I'm a mom first, and I don't expect Marie to take care of the kids if she feels sick. So I called out. The next day, it was really hot out, and the local water park was running an off-season special with cheap tickets. So I took the kids, and after a while, we ran into Marie with a group of her friends. I really couldn't say anything, except I hoped she was feeling better. Marie started to apologize and told me that her best friend had gotten tickets to the park, and she wanted to go, and she didn't think I'd have given her the day off. I told her I would have if only she told me the truth. I explained to her that she'd lied to me and made me call out at a time that was inconvenient, and if she'd just told me the truth, then I'd have understood, and I would have been happy to give her the day off and call out myself. It's the fact that she lied to me is what upset me. I added the lie to her other warnings and decided she wasn't worth keeping employed. My husband and I pay well above market rate, and we provide everything. All she needed to do was take care of the kids and follow the few rules we set. I took her aside and really quietly and kindly as possible explained this to her and told her that I'd pay her for the whole week, but she was fired. Marie started crying and her friends figured out what was happening. They called me a bitch, a Karen, a monster. My kids got upset, so I took them and left. Marie has been blowing up my phone with apologies and begging for another chance. Some of my friends say I should have given her another chance and that firing her was an overreaction. Was I an idiot? Edit. Marie is not a teenager. She's a 26-year-old woman with a degree in early childhood education and some other certifications and licenses related to the field. Not the idiot. The stuff you mentioned is enough to fire her alone. Most business places have a 3 write-ups in your fired policy. She's gone beyond this by lying to you about being sick, so she wouldn't have to work, and got caught red-handed. She'd be fired by anyone else for this, no matter what field she worked in. I was a nanny for many families, and her behavior was appalling. I would always clean up above and beyond, dishes, laundry, etc. Not following the parent-set guidelines is extremely disrespectful. Having her friends over to your home without telling you is too much on its own. I'm honestly shocked you didn't fire her sooner. You are the idiot for doing it in public, and right at that moment, in front of her friends as well as your children. It wasn't very professional on your end. You should have just said you'd speak about it later and let it go. Firing or any bad news in public is always the idiot move. I understand the emotion, but it's not a nice thing to do. So be the bigger person and do it privately. You are the idiot. Do you have a contract? Was she entitled to sick days or other benefits? Sick doesn't mean on bed rest. Mental health counts as sick. Suppose she's not doing well for whatever reason. Better if she stays away and gets better, even if that means happier. I see your reasons, but that's one side of the story. Firing her on the spot shows pettiness, like you wanted to get back at her. Sad your kids got to see that. I am stuck in a different state than my family and friends, so my boyfriend and his parents were going to throw me a small party on my birthday. Just me, my boyfriend, and his little siblings and his parents. A super low-key dinner. I'm vegetarian. I have been for 13 years. It's nothing new or anything that people don't know. So I went to their house and saw them cooking pasta with bacon pieces and cooking up veggies in the bacon grease pan. I realized there was nothing I could have except beer, and I was hungry. I reminded them that I don't eat meat, and they were like, "You can pick the bacon bits out. They're just sprinkled on the top, and give them to boyfriend. He'll eat anything. And we made vegetables that you can eat too." I didn't want to pick the meat out of the pasta or eat vegetables cooked in bacon fat, so I said I wasn't sure. I don't like meat flavor at all. I might have something else. They said there was hardly any bacon grease in the pan. While they'd used it for bacon, they just didn't wash in between, but I wouldn't even taste it. Then I ordered a pizza to their house, and when it arrived, his parents were mad and upset that I had. So I said that I mentioned I wasn't into eating meat, and that I might get my own food. My boyfriend and I left early and went out ice skating, so the day turned out fine, LOL. Am I the idiot for ordering pizza? Not the idiot. If this party was supposed to be for you, I don't know why asking you what you wanted wasn't the first order of business. But even if they couldn't be bothered to do that, who makes the guest of honor a dish that's focused on the flavor of an ingredient they can't eat? Some people are way too selfish to put the birthday person before themselves. For example, my husband and I always take ice cream or cake over whenever his parents want to celebrate my birthday, because my mother-in-law always makes peanut butter cake, which I despise. And no matter how many times my husband has told her that I don't like it, she always has peanut butter cakes because it's her and my father-in-law's favorite, and they consider themselves far more important. OP, not the idiot. Just keep in mind that these people won't get any better. I'm almost 14 years in and can promise that selfishness doesn't improve. All of this pick the bacon out, etc. comes from ignorance. I've been veggie for 11 years. I worked as a chef for a lot of them. While cooking off a tray of bacon, the smell was still amazing, so I thought I'd try a piece to see if my taste had changed. I used to love bacon, but after years of not eating meat, it was utterly disgusting. So salty and fatty. It made me stop missing bacon. So a load of veg cooked in bacon grease will taste foul. I can tell you that there's a good chance that bacon grease would have done a number on your stomach. On your birthday, a day totally about you, they couldn't at least take the care to make sure you could eat something before planning the meal? I'm not saying they're intentionally rude, but I would talk to your boyfriend about future holiday meals. And don't apologize for the pizza. They should have paid for it for you, since it was your birthday after all. I think it's amazing that you even stayed to eat anything with them. So I, 50 female, have been married to my husband, 53, for 25 years, and I have 21-year-old twins and a young teen. I used to be a network engineer for many years. I have 2 medical conditions that I have dealt with since I was in my early 20s. It is debilitating and painful. 19 years ago, my conditions became worse, and my doctors declared me permanently disabled. I went out of work and applied, and was given long-term disability within 3 months of applying. So for the last 19 years, I have, of course, am raising my kids. I do most of the cooking, but we have someone that comes in twice a week to do cleaning and laundry, as I can't do those things. My husband is an absolute gem. He works 8 to 10 hours a day, and thankfully works from home. He helps without my asking, and has never acted negatively towards me because of my disability. My mother has always been dismissive of my medical conditions, saying that she had aches and pains, but didn't let that get in her way. I've tried to explain that what I'm dealing with are not simple aches and pains. I've even given her printouts of my conditions, but she continues to blow it off. Well, she arrived last week for a 2-week visit. As soon as she walked into my home, she started complaining about our clutter, things like a pile of mail. During her visit, her remarks became more frequent and nasty, until finally, she told me I'm a terrible stay-at-home wife/mom, and she's surprised my husband tolerates this and stays with me because I'm a physical and financial leech that is too lazy to do anything. I lost it. I told her I'm not a housewife, and I didn't stop working 19 years ago to become one. I told her I am physically disabled and spend half my time in a wheelchair. I told her if anyone was a terrible mom, it was her for not recognizing and taking my medical condition seriously. I then told her to leave and go back home. I also told her that she was no longer welcome here until she could respect me, my home, and acknowledge my struggles. She yelled back and said fine, she'll not be coming back, packed, and went home. When she got home, she told my stepdad and sister her version of what happened. They both started calling me and telling me I was an idiot for throwing my mom out and for the other things I said. They wouldn't even listen to my side. So I told them I had no problem going no contact with them and hung up the phone. I think I might be the idiot because she is my mom, and maybe I shouldn't have been so harsh. Not the idiot. I wonder if she would have reacted like this if you had a disability she could see, like if you were an amputee or partially paralyzed. Furthermore, she doesn't live there or support you. and it's not your job to keep your home to her specifications. You set your boundaries because your mother does not comprehend and respect your situation. You did a good job, and I would go no contact with her. Not the idiot. Your mother is toxic. I also had a toxic mother, and I always feel guilty for standing up for myself with her. Some family members also made me feel guilty for it. It took one major incident to realize that no one has the right to treat me that way. And then standing up for myself felt terrific. Don't let anyone make you feel like you deserve to be treated that way or like it's okay. You did the right thing. My husband and I are both pretty responsible, self-sufficient people. If either of us ever forgets something or makes a mistake, we take responsibility for it ourselves instead of blaming the other person for not reminding us. That is something that's really important to me in a relationship, because when I was younger, I had a string of relationships where I started feeling more like my boyfriend's mom than equal. I fell into the roles of reminding them to keep up with their studies, getting them up out of bed in the morning for work, reminding them of their social commitments, keeping track of their vehicle maintenance schedule, and picking up the slack with household chores, etc. It's so refreshing to have a relationship where my husband is like, if I sleep in, it's my darn fault. Or if I don't have clean undies because I didn't put them in a laundry basket, I don't have clean undies. A husband who takes responsibility for his share of the household chores and his social calendar. And he also finds it refreshing to have a relationship dynamic where I never bother him about stuff that he has handled. I trust him to have his act together and don't nag. For example, he'd much rather deal with the annoyance of having to call a locksmith once a year than the annoyance of his girl asking him daily, "Did you remember your keys?" And I feel a lot less burdened, not expecting to take on that extra mental load. It might sound cold, but it works for us, and it has made our relationship a lot happier and healthier. The trouble is when we visit his mom. His mom is the more overbearing type, and I feel like she expects me to do the same. So she's always asking me to do stuff like remind him that he's got to pick up the gifts for a friend's birthday, make sure he wears his warm gloves and hat when going outside to do yard chores, remind him to add air to the car tires, make sure he has all his things before we leave after visiting. It's kind of stressful because that is not our dynamic. I told her that a while ago, kind of gently saying, he's a big boy. I'm sure he'll get his hat if he's cold. Or I don't keep track of where he puts his things. I'm sure he can find them, / remember to get them if they matter to him. And she's taken that kind of badly and made some passive-aggressive comments about how a relationship should be a partnership, how I'm coming across selfish, etc. Stuff that makes me feel like she doesn't think I'm good enough for him. She's also doubled down on asking me to do stuff like this, and I've started saying I don't want to be his mommy, and even pretty bluntly saying that having to act like someone's mommy completely turns me off them. So trust me, it's better for both him and me if I don't. Saying that last thing really upset her. She said that it doesn't seem like I was ready for an adult partnership, and we'd gotten married way too soon. Am I the idiot for what I said to my mother-in-law about not wanting to mother my husband? LMAO, her definition of being ready for an adult relationship is pampering and indulging her precious son. So, not the idiot, sweetie. OP, tell your husband to steer his mom back into her lane. After that, just ignore her. Restrict her visits and communication until she gets the picture. Not the idiot. You might want to try a different approach with your mother-in-law, though. She's from a different generation, and her expectations of men are likely based on her own marriage and her own upbringing. I recommend that you start praising her son in front of her. Tell her how lucky you are that you found this wonderful son that she raised. Tell her what an amazing job she did raising a son who treats his partner as an equal versus many men who expect their wives to baby them. Then tell her again that you are so grateful for how she raised her son to treat women as equals. Ugh, I know you're right, and I agree that this is a great approach, but the idea of OP having to kiss butt this woman is nauseating. Mother-in-law doesn't think that OP is a good enough wife for not fulfilling her wifely duties of reminding her husband how to breathe every day. I think this needs to be a convo between mother-in-law and OP's husband, and he needs to tell her to stop.